Have you ever noticed how easy it is to blame everything else? To blame your circumstances, the weather, your boss, your hormones, your partner. What if I told you that the moment that you do that, you've handed away all of your power? We call that being at effect. But when you shift to being at cause, everything changes. Your energy, your results, your reality. You are listening to the Gut Health Jack podcast, where we question the common narrative and explore what lies beneath the surface. I'm Jacqui, functional nutritionist, clinical herbalist, and NLP practitioner, here to help you understand your body, uncover the root causes of your symptoms, and finally feel like yourself again. If you've ever felt like you don't fit into the conventional path, if you're tired of the quick fixes and crave a more honest, holistic approach, you are in the right place. Every other week, we dive into the often overlooked layers of healing and explore practical steps to rebuild your gut from the inside out, all while reconnecting with your intuition. Let's dig in. Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Gut Health Jack podcast. Today we are diving into a concept that I learned from NLP, and it's sort of just like a universal concept that is really helpful to understand when we're talking about our gut health or our career or our burnout. Whatever it is that we are working with and working through, it's really important to understand cause and effect. So when we really adopt this understanding, it really helps us take back responsibility for our life. It gives us the power back. It gives us the ability to create life the way that we want, and it allows us to have choice. And this pulls us out of the victim mentality, where when you're sitting in a victim role and you're like, me, everything's so hard, why is this happening to me? You're taking your power away and you're pushing it onto others, and there's all these reasons you're probably coming up with about why something isn't working, why you're not meeting the person that you want to fall in love with, why you don't have your career, why your health is the way it is. And so when we start to understand that everything that happens has a consequence or an effect or has this ripple effect or impact, right? So it's like you throw a stone in the water, there's going to be a ripple effect. And so when we can, if something's bothering us, if we're feeling triggered or if we're not liking the way something is, we can pull ourselves out and get different perspective and observe what's happening and understand cause and effect. And this allows us to take charge of our experiences in our life and create different results. So an easy way to sort of understand this mindset shift is to think about blame. So if you're blaming others, or you're blaming your boss, or you're blaming your partner, or you're blaming other people or the environment or the weather or whatever it is, this is when we are in the effect side of the scale. And we have to realize there is, yes, this thing has happened. So let's say you get fired from your job. You didn't just get fired from your job just because, right? There was a chain of events leading up to that. Or, potentially you haven't met the man or woman of your dreams because there's a chain of event leading up to that. And so, yes, some people really don't like this concept, and it can be really confronting and really hard for people to adopt this, because we really have to step into our power and stop avoiding the things that we don't want to do. And that's sort of what this whole thing kind of points out, is where are you avoiding something in your life? And often we're avoiding the thing that is just the exact thing that will help us move through to the next level, to our next evolution. So when we are in the blame game, this is effect. And this is not pointing the finger inwards to self-destruct. This is a choice of how you perceive situations. This is not, I suck, I'm, blaming myself for doing everything wrong. And often, maybe you have those internal beliefs, and we can rewire those using some subconscious reprogramming. But yes, if we have these deeper wounds that we've never dealt with, it's actually really easy to get stuck in the effect side of this. It's really easy to get stuck in blame because we're avoiding dealing with the deeper pain. And what is so cool about this practice and really taking this concept and adopting it and really being like, okay, let's just view this as cause and effect. Let's just view this as this is what has happened. And even this happens sometimes too, like when we go back and we learn about our trauma or we learn about our upbringing, it's easy to want to blame our parents or blame our caregivers or blame the people who raised us. But that's not what it's about here. If we really adopt cause and effect, it's just noticing, okay, this is what has happened to me. So what am I going to do about it? There's no need for blaming, shaming, because what is that going to do? Right? The best thing that we can do is take responsibility for our life. And the coolest thing is when we adopt cause and effect, it makes it so much easier to pull yourself out and get a higher, further back perspective. And just say, hey, I'm put in this place to learn exactly what I need to learn so that I can evolve in my evolution of consciousness and I can step in to be the best person possible. So we really got to remember, sometimes people, when they say, when they learn this cause and effect, they go, oh, well, so it is my fault. It's really important to check in with, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about pulling back and just saying, okay, wow, this is the thing that happened. I split up with my partner. Okay, there was a chain of events that led up to this place. Now what am I going to do about it? That is the best place to step into really changing your life. So if you find yourself stuck somewhere and you don't want to be, just ask yourself, okay, what was the cause of this? I'm now where I'm at. And what can I do? And the cool thing is you're choosing a new cause. So what is the cause that you can do that's going to create a different outcome? So I've been studying under David Guillaume, and he had a quote the other day in one of his trainings that was, reactive behavior is any thought, word, or action that comes from lack, fear, or insecurity in order to connect with some form of instant gratification. And this reminded me of cause and effect, because if we are living in the effect side of the equation, we are really in reactive behavior. And when we're in reactive behavior, we are being triggered by our wounds. And so when we really work on our wounds and we work on our subconscious and we work on our emotions and we really start to tune inward and become aware of what's going on with our internal landscape, we can really calm down this reactivity. And so I want to just ask you, where in your life have you felt reactive? And what is underneath that reactivity? And how could you take this concept of being the observer and knowing that you have choice and that you can take responsibility for your life and bring in new perspective there? So again, the quote, I love this quote, reactive behavior is any thought, word, or action that comes from lack, fear, or insecurity in order to connect with some form of instant gratification. And in the modern world, we are so addicted to instant gratification. But if we can just pause, step back, and adopt being in cause, we can have gratification that is so much longer than just this instantaneous relief of, let's say, okay, pushing it onto someone else so I don't have to deal with it. Because when we are reactive, that's kind of what we're doing, right? We're pushing it onto someone else. We're saying, it's your fault. This is what happened. Instead of pause, step into, okay, what's the cause? What's the effect? Let's just check out the situation. And another thing that came up in his training the other day was looking at cause and effect in a way that is like a river. So if you're in a river, most people are just floating down, getting bumped along the side, and they're just like, oh, this is how it goes. And if you're in cause, you're in the boat and you have oars. And you can navigate and you can be a ninja of your life, which is so dope. I don't know about you, but I want to be a ninja of my life. And I want to be able to navigate the river best possible I can and pick out the super sweet camp spots and the cool trails on the side, and instead of just being swept along. And so I love this metaphor where, are you going to be the one that's just floating down the river and say, oh, I don't have any control of my life? Or are you going to hop in the boat and grab the oars and take your life by the oars and steer the boat of your life? So back to that temporary relief of reactivity, it's even saying something like, it's my fault. Because even when we say it's my fault, it almost just takes us off the hook. It's avoidance. And it can be seductive, right? Because it gives us that temporary relief, but it keeps us powerless and it makes it so we stay stuck. So even if we're talking about, let's say we're talking about health stuff or gut health stuff where you're like, oh, I'm constipated. You could go and get laxatives and just deal with the effect of, there is a reason that you're constipated. There is a reason that you're burnt out. There is a reason, and there was a cause of why you have hormonal acne. So I love taking this concept and using it in health because conventional healthcare is in effect. The news is in effect. Fear stuff, that's effect. But let's just take a step back and look at even, let's say, functional medicine, or what I do in my practice where I bring all parts of your being into place and say, hey, why are you struggling with burnout? Right? Let's go back, track what's going on. Let's make a new cause to create a new result. Same with constipation, same with fertility, same with, anything that's happening in your health. Same with skin stuff, right? There's something happening. There's something causing that. And that's what I love using the tools of not only subconscious reprogramming, but also I like to blend in functional lab testing to see what is going on at the deeper level. Are you depleted of some nutrient that you actually need? Or are you still constipated and haven't worked on letting go of your emotions? Do you have suppressed emotion? Is that contributing to your constipation? So there's so many layers to our health stuff. And if we can adopt this cause and effect, it helps us to continue the digging and continue the journey of how we got to where we are. But if you go to the doctor, they're like, oh, hey, yeah, constipated, here's laxatives. Oh, hey, you're struggling with cycle stuff, here's a birth control pill. It's not addressing the fact that something created this symptom. And so, again, I just want to ask you, where in your life do you feel like you are in effect? Where in your life do you feel like you are blaming circumstances or others? And how can you move to taking responsibility for your life? If you are addicted to something, whether it's sugar or weed or alcohol, and you want to change, take a step back and look at what's driving these habits. Is it the stress? Is it the fact that you're avoiding deeper pain when you take the thing away and you feel the pain surface? And so, the relief comes from taking the hit or taking the, eating the sugar or drinking the wine. Right? So you can really start to see how everything has cause and effect. And so this is for you. If you want to change your life, just walk through the next week and just really start to notice where you're getting caught in effect. And the thing is, I'm right there with you guys. Like, I get caught in effect and then I'm like, okay, wait, pause. Why am I here and what can I do to change it? Okay, before we close on this short little episode today, I just want to talk about how we can shift from effect to cause. So we can turn, let's say, I can't because. So if you're catching yourself saying, oh, I can't do that because, turn it into, well, I can if I choose to. I can't do this because, into I can if I choose to. You can always check your state, like I just said before, where you pause, breathe, ground before reacting. And you can ask yourself, what am I making this mean? Another way is to focus on outcome thinking. So focus on what you want to create instead of what's wrong. That's going to help you step into taking responsibility for your life and moving to cause. And one last thing that we can do to help us move from effect to cause is use this statement or understand that you are the common denominator in your results, right? You are the creator of your life. So being at cause means that you are the creator of your results in health, in your energy, in your relationships, in your business, all of it. So let's just talk through a couple of examples to really lock this in for you. So let's say you are saying, I'm exhausted because my job is so stressful. That is living in effect. The moment that we step out and go into cause, it becomes more like, I notice how I've been responding to work stress in a way that is really draining and exhausting. I can now choose boundaries or ways to restore my energy. Maybe you need to look at your health. Maybe you need to look at your diet. It's the same situation. It's just a different level of ownership. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're using social media, you might say something like, my audience isn't engaging, so I can't grow. That's being at effect. And being at cause would be something like, I am responsible for how I'm showing up and communicating. What can I adjust in my messaging or my energy to connect more deeply? Or what can I do differently to get a different result? Or think about this. It's like driving a car. So when you're in effect, you're in the passenger seat complaining about where you're going, but you're not holding the wheel. And when you're at cause, you slide into the driver's seat, kind of like the river. Right? You get into the boat, and you might still hit the traffic or the rain or, a bump in the road, but you're still steering the boat. You're still driving the car. You get to decide how you get there and what kind of music plays along in the background. So we can start to really, and it takes practice, right? This isn't going to happen overnight. It's like, think of your life as a garden. If weeds grow, being at effect means that you're blaming the weather, you're blaming the environment, the soil, or the neighbors. But being at cause means you roll up your sleeves, you tend to the soil, you pull out the weeds, and you plant what you actually want to do, what you want to grow. Every thought, every word, every small choice is like dropping that pebble in the water. And when you live at effect, you're reacting to other people's ripples, you're reacting to things that have happened in the past. And when you live at cause, you're intentionally creating your own ripple, your own life, knowing that your energy expands outward and comes back to you. So as we close today, just take a moment to notice, where in your life are you living at effect? Maybe it's your health, your business, your relationship, food, your energy. And ask yourself, what would I shift when I choose to be at cause? So being at cause, again, it's not about blame. It's remembering that you have the power and that you are the common denominator in your results. And that is so beautiful because it means that you always have the ability to create something new or change your life. So if this episode resonated with you today, I'd love for you to take one action this week. Choose one area of your life where you will move from being reactive to being creative. Because the moment that you step into this cause side of the equation, you become the author of your life again. And if you want to take this stuff deeper and really level up your life, I invite you to join my Breakthrough program, which is a 8-week program where we literally just dive into everything that's going on in your subconscious. We help you clear out emotions. We integrate your parts. We rewire limiting decisions. And we help you really strip away the layers and the blocks that are holding you back from your health, from your career, or stepping into that next chapter of your life. So thank you for tuning into the podcast today. I'm excited for you to adopt this understanding and this mindset of cause and effect. And I will see you in a couple weeks' time for the next episode of the Gut Health Jack podcast. If this episode lit something up within you, join me again in 2 weeks' time. Gut health doesn't have to be overwhelming. We'll unravel it here together, one episode at a time. Sign up for my newsletter with this link below to be the first to know when the next episode drops. And if someone came to mind while listening today, copy the link and share this episode if you think it could help them. Thanks for tuning in and listening to the Gut Health Jack podcast. Now get outside, have some fun, and I'll see you for the next episode.